Hi, my name is Wendy Rouse, and I'm a professor in history at San Jose State University. I taught high school history for over 10 years. I taught U.S. history and government, and now I work with future teachers in the social science teacher preparation program at San Jose State. And we are working on ways to include LGBTQ plus history in our curriculum, and so I wanted to share with you today a few examples of how we've gone about doing that. And hopefully this is something that you can use and apply in your own classroom. You no doubt already teach a unit on urbanization and the rich cultural diversity of American cities in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. You likely also talk about xenophobia and anti-immigrant laws, ordinances passed by many cities. So when I teach this unit, I also often frame it as a fear of the, quote, other, right? To talk about the variety of ways that individuals of different ages, genders, sexualities, social classes, cultural backgrounds, ethnicities, mental, physical, or developmental abilities face discriminatory laws in the cities. So although cross-gender behavior and same-sex relationships were common in American cities, there has also been a history of repression. Concern about sexual and gender deviance influenced the creation of laws that were simultaneously used to oppress queer people in the past and to reinforce class, gender, and racial hierarchies. Cities around the country began to pass anti-cross-dressing laws in the mid-19th century. Historian Claire Sears has studied the ways in which the city of San Francisco defined Chinese immigrants, individuals with disabilities, or gender nonconforming people as social problems and attempted to remove them from public space or exclude them from the country. San Francisco, Denver, and LA all passed laws against cross-dressing in the mid-19th century. Mamie Baldwin is a good example. She was arrested under the San Francisco law in 1896. Baldwin dressed in trousers and a man's jacket just for fun on the 4th of July, and she walked down the streets of San Francisco with her friends, but a police officer stopped them. The officer said that she had violated the cross-dressing law and arrested her. In court, the judge fined her because he said that he was afraid that if he let women wear men's clothes, that they would start to demand the same rights as men. Geraldine Portico was also arrested under the San Francisco cross-dressing law. But unlike Baldwin, Portico was not merely dressing up for fun. Her clothes represented an expression of her gender identity. She was born in Mexico and immigrated to the United States. She was assigned to the male sex at birth, but identified as a girl. And from the time she was a child, she preferred to wear dresses and other clothing common for a young woman at the time. In December 1917, she was arrested by the San Francisco police for wearing women's clothing. Because she was not born in the United States, she wasn't just fined, as Baldwin had been, but instead, government officials actually decided to punish her by deporting her back to Mexico. So these examples, combined with the examples that you already use in your class, can lead to rich discussions about how individuals were othered as a result of their race, ethnicity, gender expression, sexuality, physical, mental, or developmental abilities. And you can discuss how laws sought to discriminate against, hide from public view, or push out these individuals. You can develop ethical thinking by asking students to think about the injustice of these types of policies in both the past and the present. One of the ways that I teach about LGBTQ plus history in the urbanization unit is through a jigsaw activity that explores the various ways that individuals were othered by their race, class, gender, sexuality, religion, age, or disability. Students explore a series of 3 case studies, and I specifically use examples from San Francisco throughout this lesson to highlight local examples. The first case study focuses on Chinese immigrants and describes the rise of xenophobic and anti-immigrant agitation and the various anti-Chinese ordinances passed in the city of San Francisco. Students explore the story of Mamie Tape, who fought against the segregated school system. The second case study focuses on an 1867 city ordinance that fined or jailed people in an attempt to remove those that were sick or disabled from the public streets, simply because they were considered, quote, unsightly. They learn about Jane Shea, who was an 80-year-old woman with physical disabilities, and she sold matches on the street to earn a living. Under the law, she was arrested not just for begging, but simply for being seen in public. In the third case study, students learn about San Francisco's cross-dressing laws. They examined the case of Geraldine Portico, a trans woman who was arrested and deported under the law. Following the jigsaw, I moderate a whole class discussion about how individuals were othered in the past and how laws sought to discriminate against, hide from public view, or push them out. More importantly, we link past to present by exploring the continuity and change of these past injustices to our present